Check 1, 2.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I cannot believe, Sarah, it's been 20 freaking years almost.
I literally can't believe it.
I'll never forget us in the makeup trailers, cause that is where we all really get close. Cause we don't have time to do this, sit and chat for an hour. And
In memory of you is when we went out to the club because I was going.
Of course, yeah,
I was kind of being a little bit wild. You knew how to play. You were crazy. But I was kind of intimidated by you. I remember you trying to get me to even open up at Hyde and dance and just let loose, because I was so kind of rigid. So we were going through marriage counseling, and so he wanted to be in Oregon, and I decided to train in Oregon for that summer.
But you were also on tour.
And I was also on tour. I was doing everything. I mean, that was
wow.
And I was the only mom on that season. So after about 6 hours of training, I would start getting really antsy and want to go home, be with the kids. The very first episode, we had to do that slow thing.
Foxtrot.
Whatever. Yes, the foxtrot. And
slow thing.
The guy said, you look like Barbara Bush. I think he meant to say Laura Bush. I'm hoping, because Barbara Bush was 80 at the time. I thought they hated me from the very beginning, and then I also thought maybe it's something like they want to be mean to me so that all my fans will come to my defense, and
Oh, you thought it was reverse psychology.
Right. I don't think people loved Tony, people at the show, because he was always real sort of bullheaded about this is the way I want to do it. And and then we went through Ramadan.
Oh my God, I heard you say this on Bobby Bones' podcast.
And the dude would not eat, and I'm you're already so mean. Mean in a coaching way.
No, totally. Totally.
Yeah. And now you're starving to death. So I'm like, what's it gonna take to get you to eat? And he was like, well, if you donate a certain amount of money to my mosque that I go to, then I can break fast. So I was like, where is my checkbook? And so I donated money to the mosque, and he broke fast and got in a little bit of a better mood. But I was also going through divorce, so I was showing up crying. You remember that? I was crying.
I do.
My eyes were puffy all the time. I mean, it was one of the hardest yet exhilarating times of my life. My ex-husband would come to every show and sit in the audience so he could be seen on television.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we weren't speaking. He was always using my children to scare me, not return them, try to paint a picture as though, I'm not a good mom because I'm on Dancing with the Stars and I'm not with them, just shit like that. Yet every episode he was sitting right there in the front row because he, wanted to be seen on TV and wanted to be a part of it. So
it was hard for him to see you dance with Tony?
Oh, he accused me of having an affair with Tony. Right. He accused me of having an affair with 11 people. 11? 11.
On the show?
No, just in 11 people.
Right.
I'm like, I don't have time to pee. I have 3 babies.
Right.
Much less 11 affairs.
Yeah, 11 affairs.
But let me ask you this: why does the dancer and the contestant have to touch all the time?
And you do develop a bond.
Right.
It doesn't mean if I'm rumbaying with Emmett Smith, first of all, never. We have boundaries.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, just because you're dancing together, because I can sing a duet with somebody and glare into their eyes and look like I'm in love. I mean, I did Crossroads with Maroon 5, and Adam Levine and I had the most unbelievable chemistry on stage while we were singing together.
And
we looked like we were in love.
Yeah.
But that was just performance.
Yeah.
So I get that.
But it's like any sex scene you would see, right? It's not like, you're not continuing, maybe you are, but it's just it's not, I'm like, lose my number. I'm so tired of my partner at the end of the season. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you for like 2 months, okay?
Right.
Like, literally lose my number. Like,
Yes.
it's not that sexy.
I totally agree. Yeah, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my career, my professional life. I would say that the worst part was just the fact that I was going through divorce, and I was always afraid that my ex was gonna take the kids, like while I was rehearsing, and take them to Oregon, or just, you know, take them away from me. And even our marriage counselor said, look, stay away from her during Dancing with the Stars. We'll reconvene afterwards. He wouldn't hear of that. The touching part, the being with Tony all the time, that bothered him a lot. But I didn't give a shit because I was not, I mean, I always had, I said earlier, I always kind of had this guilt because I wasn't really in love. And, you know, but I made 3 beautiful, amazing children through it. So it's hard to say that, you know. I would go to the bathroom about every 30 minutes and cry for a second because I'm such a people pleaser, and and I'm also a perfectionist. So I would get, you know how when you're like in math class or something and there's just something you don't understand or you can't do and you cry, you just want to cry? That's how I was all the time. I wanted to cry all the time.
Were you able to be your authentic self, you think, on camera? Or why didn't you want to cry on camera?
I was never my authentic self on camera on Dancing with the Stars because I thought the judges hated me. And when he made that remark, you remind me of Barbara Bush, on episode 1, I thought they thought that I was conservative and then it was political. Because
did you feel that people were rooting for you? Because they were.
Yes, I did.
Felt the love.
I felt the love. I really did. We were just all there eating. My ex-husband was there. He was catching on to the fact that, you know, I was, something was going to go down. I had already, you know, filed or called my lawyers and done the papers, and then we were going to file the next day. And so I think that he knew that and could sense that. So he picked my son up and ran out of the restaurant with him. Tony knew everything that was going on because, of course, we were together all the time. Right. He knew. In fact, when Tony first met my ex, he said, "What's wrong with your husband?" Because he could tell that there were a lot of problems, you know. And so I texted Tony and I said, "Come over to the restaurant." He started running out of the restaurant with my child.
So did you see him
and
come in and grab?
And Tony started walking towards him, but he found 2 off-duty policemen that were eating. He basically picked them up and said, "Come with me." So they were coming our way. Tony put his arm out and said, "Stop." I reached for my child, got him back. Police kept us there. They were like, "What's going on?" We had explained the whole deal. And it was just it was a nightmare. And the next day we were gonna start the group dance.
So you basically, so this show was about 10 weeks, it was 10 weeks, and you left week 6, which was right, you left at the best time though, honestly. This is when we did 2 dances a week. This is insanity. Like, it's insanity, the amount of work. And then back then we had results shows. There's no more results shows now. So we had less time to rehearse. Meaning, like, we had a 3-day turnaround. Like, time is not on your side, obviously, as you know.
Right.
This is the one thing Tony is. I mean, he's many things, but he'll have your back till the day you die.
He did.
Did you feel protected by him?
Absolutely. I mean, he would have killed my ex-husband that night.
Literally killed.
If he had not gotten a hold of himself and realized, like, I can't run out of here with our child and take him away from his mother. And my 2 girls were there too. They were babies, both of them in diapers. So Tony would have killed him.
Killed.
Yeah.
Like, and no regrets.
Yeah, because Tony had to go through all of our training and the whole season with me crying constantly, and
Well, he also, he has love for you,
yes.
you know, and like, he has kids, he has his own family, his own wife.
That's
like,
right.
I remember him saying this to me, like, I can't even imagine, like, if this guy, and then I remember him always talking to the producers about, because we were all worried about you, and especially in the makeup trailer, like, I was so young then, but I was just like, I just wanted to give you a hug, like, I couldn't even imagine, and like, to be honest, I just felt so much compassion, and at the same time I was like, how is she still doing the show? Was it a hard decision for you to bow out, or was it like, no, I have to do this for my family? Was it like you knew you had to do this?
Because of what they went through, especially my son, because of that night, the next day I was gonna have to be gone like 12 hours learning the group dance.
It's like, that's the last thing you want to do, right?
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not leaving them for 5 seconds. So I just called my manager and I said, I have to quit the show. I'm so sorry. So dancing, they were pretty good about it. They just said, if you'll give us an interview and let the fans know why you're leaving. And so I just said, you know, I'm going through a divorce and something happened that was very traumatic for my children, and I can't leave them.
Tom Bergeron did a sit-down interview with you.
Yes, and Tony did the interview with me, which was so helpful. And then we basically left. But, you know, like, even with your dog, like, you can't imagine something traumatic happening and then having them be gone the whole next day. No way. That's not worth it.
Nothing is.
Nothing
right?
is.
That's your, I mean, I can't even imagine with kids, but like, if I'm like this with my little Frenchie, oh my goodness.
That's right. There's no way. But thank you for saying that, because I had no idea that you guys even knew.
So I've heard you say that if you stayed on the show, that you would have won. Spill the tea. Over Emmett Smith, over Mr. Twinkle Toes himself. You really think so, Sarah?
Well, I'm not gonna sit here and say that over you.
No, but it's not about me. It's Dancing with the Stars.
No, but I mean, you are fucking awesome.
Oh,
and I love, like, this sounds weird, but I always loved your body.
Oh, thanks.
I was always like, oh my God, because you're sexy. So when you danced in those ways, it wasn't like the
right.
You were just so fit and curvy, and I don't know. I love, you're my favorite one to watch dance by far.
Thank you.
By
that
far,
means
and I
so
mean
much
that
to me.
for real.
Thank you.
And I had fun hanging with you and partying with you, but I think I would have won.
I love it
because of the country fans.
They're diehard.
Yes.
I'm telling you, I think Drew Lachey and I went because we danced to Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. That's literally why we won. I'm a huge advocate for mental health, so I really appreciate your transparency and how vulnerable you are. What makes you want to share your experiences with the world?
I don't like it when people assume that stars have perfect lives. I think it damages normal people. It's very unhealthy. The Kardashians, however, I think they are tone deaf at times. When the world's going through, you know, hard financial times, and they're like, check out my new Bentley, and you know, all. So that's why I'm so open, because I want people to know that life is hard for everybody. I mean, I got hit by a car when I was 8 years old. I almost died. I almost died in a plane crash. I fell in a sewer. I almost drowned. Like, I've had 3 near-death experiences.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and I've been through divorce. I've been through trouble in my marriage with Jay, and that I'm probably living a more stressful life than the normal person. I hate it when a preacher will get up on the pulpit and be like, you know, you may be a famous person, but you're da-da-da, and you don't, you know the Lord because you're, that's not true. I mean, just because you're famous, I mean, I'm famous because I worked my ass off. You're famous because you worked your ass off dancing and training and, you know.
But we, like, worked our ass off. Like, even before the fame. Like, this
before
is,
the
right.
We work hard. I mean, probably harder than a lot of just, you know.
It's not a 9-to-5 job. Our job is not 9 to 5, is what
Right.
you're trying to say. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, it really is 24/7.
That's right. It's 24/7.
But we choose it.
And we choose it. And it's heaven and hell. And yes, we may have money because of it, but money is not happiness.
With fame comes people's opinions. How do you handle all of this?
It bothers me. I have an eating disorder.
Got it.
I'm more scared of being fat than anything in the world, and that's not good. That's not normal.
Body dysmorphia?
Body dysmorphia. If I'm skinny and I'm pretty and I did a good show, then I'm loved. I was reading comments on one of my podcasts the other day, and somebody goes, "What happened to her face?" And that bothered me all day long. And I just wanted to respond, like, how dare you? But it's always chasing after him and wanting his love. And that translated into men. So when I stand up for myself, it bothers people because they're used to me being such a people pleaser. So when I do stand up for myself, it makes people angry.
Yeah, but by the way, that's normal.
Right. But then you get in the cycle again of like, well, I'm sorry. Ugh, don't be mad at me. If it wasn't for my 3 children, I would die.
Really?
And I have my husband sitting right here, and I don't mean that to make you feel bad, but if I didn't have them, I would die. Writing the album was very hard because Jay and I were separated, and so
When you wrote it?
When I wrote it,
Okay.
every song was so depressing. The reason I named the album Unbroke is because it has 2 meanings. The song talks about divorce. When you have children and you divorce, nobody's hearts get out unbroke because it breaks everyone's hearts. Your extended families, your kids, your cousins, it breaks everybody's heart. The song says nobody's heart gets out unbroke. Now that title means something different. Now the title is we're back together and we are unbroken.